Welcome back to Toxic Tuesdays. Toxic Tuesdays is where we talk to the toxic side of the things that we're doing and the things that are happening and the things that are going on with the narcissist. And particularly on this Toxic Tuesday, we're going to be talking about cheating. Talking about, hey, you're stuck in a relationship where you are cheating. You are in a place where you continue to abuse and manipulate, and you're not sure, how do you actually stop? What's actually going on? How do you actually fix it? Now, I've talked some about my journey, and I've talked some about like the habits and the different pieces of cheating, but there's different things that need to stop. There's different things that need to break for cheating to stop. And the problem is the majority of times, guys are not willing to stop. They're not willing to be honest, and they're not willing to actually focus on the problem. So as a result, it keeps happening. Now, if you're a guy that's been showing up and you keep cheating on your wife or on your partner, what I need you to understand is until you get honest about the fact that you're still cheating and that you're still a liar, nothing's actually going to change. You're going to be in the same dead-end rut over and over and over, wondering, why can't I fix this? Well, you can't fix it because you're a liar. And until you get to a place where you want to be honest with yourself and admit to what you're actually doing, nothing will actually change. So you could say, hey, I like this life and I like going back and forth, manipulating, cheating, and having a dead-end relationship that doesn't actually go anywhere. That's your life, and that's going to continue to be there. Or you could be honest, and you can actually say, this is not what I want, and how do I actually break it? If that's you, let's talk. There'll be a link down below that you can talk and that we can click for you to be able to actually access a video from me and be able to see, is it a good fit to be able to work with me as far as breaking the things that you've shown up as a cheater, as a liar, as an abuser. This is why it's Toxic Tuesdays, because we're talking the majority of the times to the liar, the cheater, the abuser, the narcissist, but we don't define, we don't label, because that really doesn't matter. What matters is you've been a liar and you haven't shown up honest to you and to others, which is why you're here. When we're talking through this piece of being a liar, being a cheater, we have to have habits that break. We've talked through some of the habits that need to break inside of lying, but what about the different habits that need to break inside of cheating? Now, cheating oftentimes has a gateway that's going to open up. There's going to be multiple things that happen before them. There's going to be lying, which needs to happen before you can even cheat, right? You're not typically going to go out and cheat and be like, hey, I cheated last night. Just want to let you know. Thought it was great and hope you had a great day today. See you later. No, you're not typically going to be honest about this type of thing. So lying is going to be one of the gateways. Lying has to happen and be a part of your life in order for you to get to a place of cheat. And on top of that, a lot of times people will step into the cheating world step by step. Sometimes you'll jump onto the deep end, start a relationship with someone else right away. Other times, it might be different aspects. You might be with prostitutes. You might be with an emotional affair. You might be inside of pornography. All different things that are stepping stones oftentimes to get to a place where you're actually doing the deed. Now, sometimes narcissists want to be very particular. Well, I didn't actually have sex with her, so therefore I wasn't cheating. Nope, you lied and you cheated by not being with the wife that you said you were going to be with and giving your emotional intelligence, heart, and life to another person because you weren't man enough to actually be honest with your wife. Again, going back to the liar piece. But we'll jump right in. So when we're dealing with this piece of cheating, one of the doors that's the easiest to be able to open up into the cheating world is just going to be pornography. Like when you start looking and engaging more and more with pornography, you're not just opening up the door to like instant gratification, which is going to make it hard in other areas of your life, but you're also opening up the door to being like, oh, look at the possibility of these people being with other people. Why can't I have that kind of person? Why can't I have that woman with that body? Why can't I have that guy? Why can't I be in this? And so many times you're going to start to have and live the fantasy first off. So one of the habits that we need to break is the pornography. If you have pornography, you're going to be leading yourself oftentimes to cheating. Does it happen every time? No, not necessarily, but you're still like hurting your relationship. Many people would have say, hey, pornography is cheating. It's like mentally and emotionally cheating on your spouse because you're using and you're looking at other women to get off, to feel better about yourself, and you're not actually involving your partner and your spouse. That's a piece of it too. Pornography oftentimes opens the door, just opens up the possibility, opens up the ideology of like, oh, this could be me. I could be that person on the screen having sex with that person. So you see this happen and you're like, oh, let me actually build up the fantasy. You build up the fantasy, then you start to try to figure out, how do I actually reenact this? How do I actually make this happen in real life? And so you get to a place where you start interacting with other people, and that's where you start having these moments where you either start coming off sexual, you start flirting, you start putting out the sexual energy, whatever it might be. But oftentimes it'll open up the door on that initial piece. Now, depending on where you are, you can open up that door with anything. You can open that door with Instagram, with TikTok, with Twitter. Like you can open up that door with anything and be like, oh, that looked good. Let me look at more. Let me look at more. And all of a sudden you find yourself into pornography. Then you find yourself into cheating. It's a very easy slide into it. When we're dealing with this piece of breaking the habits, it means we have to break addictions along the way. An addiction to lying, an addiction to cheating, an addiction to pornography, an addiction to, like, we're breaking different addictions that you become addicted to that get you to the place of being willing to cheat. The only reason why you're willing to cheat is because you're not looking at the consequences and you're also justifying it. Typically, people don't go into a cheating relationship, or they don't go into a place of cheating on their spouse when they're like, hey, I'm in a loving, committed relationship. I enjoy it and I really appreciate it. And I also want to go cheat as well. People normally don't do that. They're typically looking to be able to solve and fix something, an unhealthy coping mechanism, an unhealthy way to be able to process things that they're unwilling to process, typically because they're already running from their own lies. Again, lies are a huge piece that's coming down into this. Now, maybe it's a piece where we just need to break habits of you flirting and you interacting with other women. Like, it could be a place where you need to step back and not be communicating with women at all. This is not a good place. This is not a good feel. This is not something that's healthy for you, because it can lead to that emotional connection, can lead to that sexual piece. That's a piece that you need to evaluate as well. Do I need to have relationships? Well, I have this one friend and she's amazing. Is that really necessary? Well, yeah. Why? Because if you actually say you care and you love your family, then you'd be willing to do whatever it takes. The problem is the majority of cheaters aren't willing to do whatever it takes unless it's about the cheating. Then they'll do whatever it takes. But actually, like, salvaging their life or their marriage or like working on their relationship, yeah, that's too difficult. So they're going to typically run away and do everything that they want to do versus actually investing time and energy into who they actually are, shifting that piece. Could be a simple piece is not interacting, not texting other women. Consider for a moment, maybe you've already had a pattern of cheating and you're like, hey, I want to get better. But you won't even let your wife see your phone because you're like, that's an invasion of privacy. Bullshit. That's your own pride and ego that's putting her out and saying like, oh, I need to have privacy. You don't deserve privacy because you're a liar. You don't deserve privacy because you were a cheater. Doesn't mean she has to go through and expose every single thing that's in your life 24/7, because that's not going to be healthy for her. Regardless of how it affects you, I don't really care. That's not going to be healthy for her, because she's not going to be able to heal, because she's going to get constantly triggered with all the bullshit that you have inside your phone. But it's also a piece that if you want to establish honesty in your relationship, you need to break the habit. You're like, this is my private stuff. You can't look at it. Yeah, that's not a relationship, and she should leave you right now, because you're an immature asshole that actually can't deal with being truthful and honest. So you should have a wife that actually leaves you if you can't even show her your phone. But these are habits that you have to break. Like, if you're not willing to actually break these habits, then you're saying, hey, I don't care about my relationship. I don't want this relationship. I don't want to build trust. And I want to keep doing the same stuff that I'm doing. That's great. Keep doing that, and she can leave you and go find someone that actually cares and actually loves her. But you're like, but I love her. No, you don't. Because love has actions. Love has a responsibility to show up in a different way. I convinced myself for a lot of times that I loved all these different women that I cheated with. But I didn't love them because I didn't actually value them to the point of having a commitment. I didn't love my wife because I didn't value her to having a commitment. I didn't value them to the point of having honesty, full-blown honesty and vulnerability. I didn't have that. I told myself I had that, but I didn't, because I lied to myself before I lied to everybody else. Convincing myself that it was okay, convincing myself that it was a good idea. So you might be at a place, you have to be able to give full access to your phone. Location, phone, everything. Because the habits of you hiding stuff has led you to the place of cheating. Maybe you have to get rid of all the pornography. You have to make sure there's no way that you can step back into the addictive things you've been in that have left you stuck and left you going back to toxic things that haven't let you actually connect with your wife. You're like, okay, I need to let go of that. Maybe it's the piece we need to let go of the lying, because you keep lying, and every time you lie, you die. You die inside of a pit. You die inside of the night, and you're like, hey, I'm going to lie about this, and it'll make me feel better in the moment. But the reality is it doesn't do anything. It just has you shrivel up internally. And you're wondering, how do I actually move forward? How do I actually do this? And instead, you just have shame and guilt, and you keep putting it on yourself over and over. You might have to stop talking to other women. Like, making sure that you're actually setting a precedent of saying, I'm no longer going to talk to the opposite sex because I have a habit of cheating. I have a habit of building an emotional connection with another woman. Stop talking to other women about your relationship, about your wife, about issues that are happening, because all you're doing is you're implanting seeds in that relationship. You're starting a relationship with someone else because you're using your wife as fodder to be able to say, hey, yeah, this is really struggling. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And you're like, yep, feed me the emotional stuff because I can't get it from my wife because I'm not a man who's willing to be honest with her. That you need to understand there's habits that have to break in order for cheating to stop. Otherwise, don't say that you don't want to stop cheating. Don't say that you actually want to change if you're not willing to adjust the habits. It's like someone who's saying, hey, I want to get fit, but they're not willing to do the healthy things. They're like, I want to get fit, but I'm going to keep drinking the energy. I want to get fit, but I'm not going to actually exercise. I want to get fit, but I'm not going to actually do the work. I'm not going to actually focus on my meal prep or my meal diet. I might get a jab and make me lose weight, but I'm not actually going to do the hard work to shift myself internally. I'll get temporary fixes, but I won't get long-term change and transformation simply because I'm not willing to do the work. Same thing inside of cheating. If you're not actually willing to do the work and shift who you are with all of these habits and all these changes that need to happen inside of your life, nothing's going to change. It's going to be the same dead-end relationship over and over and over until you decide to actually shift something. So if you're a guy and you're still watching this and you're still like, okay, I resonate with this and I don't want this anymore, then I want you to go to rawmotivations.com. There's a breakthrough call for men. You can click and you can watch the video and you can fill an application. Let's talk. Because if this resonates and you actually want something different than the life that you have, I want to show you how you can actually change it. How you can actually fix who you are, shift your reality, and be able to help establish the relationship and the connection that you've always wanted, but you're actually not sure how to get. If I can help you with that, go to rawmotivations.com, click on the breakthrough call for men, and let's talk today.